welcome back to another video. Today's video is part 2 in my Twilight versus book series, and today I'm going to be going over Twilight New Moon. Now joining us is my U2's Astarion. I bought this back in October and he arrived a few weeks ago, and I completely forgot that I did this. This was a something that I saw the ad for and just decided I needed it that very second and bought it. So he will probably be in future videos just sitting there being a cool little guy. But today is not about Astarion. Today is about Twilight New Moon. Through all the Twilight books, New Moon is probably my least favorite because, well, vampires aren't really a big part in New Moon. It's more Edward abandoning his girlfriend because he's a bitch. And her going into a depressive state because she can't live without him and just being very distraught and, you know, just collapsing in on herself and not leaving her house. And Jacob tries to help her with this, obviously, because he's madly in love with her. And, you know, she grows closer to Jacob and puts herself in danger just to see Edward, which is, okay. Don't hate New Moon. Don't love it. Breaking Down Part 1 is probably my least of the entire series. All I need to say is the birth scene, and you will understand why. Now, New Moon is the reason I got into Twilight. I actually found Twilight after the first 2 movies were already made, and I was like, oh my god. Now, today I'm going to be talking about the differences between the movie and the book. There are some minor differences, there are some major differences. Now, in the last one, I mentioned character differences between the book and movie. I'm not going to be doing that today because I went over a lot of the main characters. There's a few side characters within New Moon that probably look different from their movie counterpart, but today we're going to focus on the differences. To start off, let's get with the minor differences. Now, there are some minor differences that I didn't put in here, like, you know, Bella's wearing a different outfit in the book than she is in the movie in certain sections, or this was supposed to be that color, or whatever. But these are differences that are quite minor that I don't think really affect the story much. The first one is the iconic "Where have you been?" Loca line, which is when Bella goes to Jacob's house. He runs up to her, goes, "Where have you been, Loca?" Picks her up, spins her around a little bit. It has become quite a meme over the last few years. People have made shirts and stickers and you name it. And this was created specifically for the movie. It is not in the book. Neither is Hold Tight, Spider Monkey, as I mentioned in the last video. That is not in the book either. It was just added to the movie. Yes, it's a little cringy. But it has persisted, become memeable, if you will. So, I mean, it's doing something right. As I said in the last video, in the books, Bella cooks. And they just decided to cut that out of the movie and make them go to the diner all the time. In this book, she also has a job. She doesn't just cook for her and her father every night. She also has a job. It's at a sports store. And it's not a giant part of the story, but she does have this job that she goes to. And in the movie, they kind of just removed it entirely, which, I mean, it doesn't really change the story overall. But she did have more of a life than what they showed in the New Moon movie. In the books, Jasper, Rosalie, and Emmett are posing as seniors, while Alice and Edward are posing as juniors. Bella is also a junior, so they're in the same grade. So in New Moon, the 3 pretending to be seniors are supposed to be in college, because obviously they've moved on. But as seen throughout the movie, they are definitely in the same grade, especially when they show the graduation scene, and Jasper is there. So they've down-aged a few of them, which really, it doesn't change much. Throughout the Twilight universe, the vampires have different color eyes. Vegetarian vampires are those who don't drink human blood's eyes are yellow, like a golden color. Those who eat humans have red eyes. And if they're super hungry, no matter if their eyes are normally red or yellow, they turn black. So when the hunger is taking over them, their pupils overtake their eyes, and they just turn, like, really, really dark. However, in the New Moon movie, they don't show that at all. They do, I believe, show some of it in the first movie. They definitely show it in the third one, and I know they show it throughout the other movies, but in New Moon, like when Jasper tries to attack Bella at the party, or any moment where a vampire is showing hunger, their eyes don't change color in the New Moon movie, whether that was just because they didn't want to deal with contacts, because, I mean, they're wearing contacts already, so maybe they just couldn't get the black contacts, because it was shown in the first movie, but I don't think it was, like, a big part of it. I don't know. But their eyes don't change color, which is really simple and really it doesn't do anything. But it's just like an interesting little thing that I feel like could have added to the movie, personally. Especially because in the third movie, there's a fight between Edward and Jacob, and his eyes are just pitch black when they're fighting. And I think it just adds contrast. And be like, oh, he's hungry and pissed. Now, to the major differences. I am not going to be talking about every single major difference that is in the book because this video would be so long. I'm going over the main major differences that I noticed. There's probably a few I missed. Comment down below if I missed any. New Moon begins with Bella's birthday. Bella is kind of distraught over this because Edward will forever be 17 and she is turning 18, so she feels like she's a cougar. She doesn't say that, but she's like, I'm getting older. I'm basically ancient. It's like, Edward is like 107. So I think you're doing just fine. However, it really like hurts her being 18 and him being 17. So, you know, trying to get through this birthday but not really enjoying it. When she gets to school, Jacob is there and he gifts her with a dream catcher, which is more involved in Eclipse. In the books, he doesn't get her anything. He actually is not even there for her birthday. In the movie, it's obvious that he is there for her birthday. He gives her a gift and everything. In the books, he doesn't show up again until after her birthday, after she shows up at his house with the motorcycles. He's not there. No gift is exchanged. He's not there for the birthday. He does give her, I believe, like those candy hearts. Because that's a heart. Candy hearts for Valentine's Day, but he doesn't, like, get her a birthday gift. Though I think the Dreamcatcher was really cute and totally a good addition to the movie. This is a major but also a minor change at the same time. In New Moon, they talk about how Edward came to be a vampire. In both versions, Carlisle is the one to turn him. In the book, Carlisle takes Edward to his home. No one really says anything about this because Edward's, you know, on death's door. So Carlisle takes Edward to his home and turns him into a vampire there. In the movie, he does it in the hospital room. Nurse walks out, he walks in, goes, I'm gonna save you, Edward. Does it right in the middle of a hospital, which is, I think, the dumbest thing ever, because if someone walks in and sees there's a bite mark on this kid's neck who is now screaming. Just saying. It's a little odd. It really, I mean, Carlisle turns him in both. Edward is dying in both. He becomes a vampire. Here he is. It's a simple thing that didn't need to be, like, changed. In the first movie, in Port Angeles, Bella meets a group of guys who are, you know, don't have great intentions, and Edward saves her life. Now, in the second one, Edward isn't there. So Bella decides that she's going to go toward a group of bikers. She gets toward the group of bikers and convinces herself to get on the back of one of the bikes. She, however, sees Edward, like a misty version of him, freaks out and gets off. She's fine. She comes out unscathed, but she does actually get on the bike. In the book, she walks toward these bikers and hears Edward and stops. She never gets on the bike. She doesn't even get close enough to get on the bike. Phoebe! How's it going, man? I'm trying to film a video. So the main difference is basically in the movie, she actually gets on the bike with the bikers. She does go, oh crap, and gets off and, you know, is fine. In the book, she never even gets to the bikers. He shows her or stops her from doing this. Speaking of Edward's guidance in New Moon, in the book, she does not see him. She never, like, sees a vision of Edward, a misty, ghostly apparition of Edward. She just hears his voice in her head like a conscience, whether that means it was Edward's influence or just her own brain deciding that her conscience and her, like, fight or flight voice would be Edward. I don't know. But when she gets into danger, like when she goes toward the cliff or when she goes toward the bikers or whatever, she hears Edward's voice in her head basically telling her not to. Like, please don't do this. You know, it's unsafe. You know, you don't want to do this. Stuff like that. In the movie, they represent this by her actually seeing Edward. She hears him and sees him. Now, this was just a visualization for the movie. Obviously, they still could have gone with her just hearing him. It wouldn't be that hard to film. But, I mean, if her conscience has to take a ghostly form of Edward for her to listen, which she doesn't really listen half the time, I guess why not? The big part in New Moon, the biggest plot twist, is that Jacob is a werewolf. In the book, Jacob is slowly turning into this wolf. He's having mood swings and acting out, and Bella eventually figures out that he is a werewolf. She goes to his house and, confronts him about this. And the pair go to the other wolves to confront them about, hey, Jacob's a werewolf. Like, he didn't want this, And they go and confront the group together, which causes Paul and Jacob to get in a fight. That's the overview. Obviously, there's a little bit more to it, but that's how it goes. In the movie, she doesn't wait for Jacob to wake up. She goes to the group of wolves by herself and hits Paul in the face, which causes him to start to lash out and transform right in front of her. She goes, oh, she runs away. Jacob runs to protect her. And Bella, I don't think, is fully convinced that he's a werewolf yet, obviously. So she runs. She tells him to run. He jumps over her and turns into a wolf too. And she's like, what? Werewolf? Even though she's making out with a vampire, I mean. But it's just revealed in a different way. Obviously, Jake and Paul do fight, but it is instigated by Bella punching Paul in the face. Why not? In the movie, Harry Clearwater dies because Victoria, Harry, and Charlie are out hunting something, which turns out to be Victoria. And Victoria corners Harry, takes him up by the front of his shirt, and he has a heart attack. In the book, he does have a heart attack, but it is caused by his own daughter transforming into a werewolf in front of him. It scares the crap out of him so badly that he has a heart attack. Which I feel like in the movie, I like that version more because he's trying to hunt the bad guy and gets caught and just his heart can't take it. In the book, his daughter scares him so badly, which is kind of heartbreaking. I mean, obviously seeing your daughter turn into a wolf would be a little scary if you didn't know. And even if he did, it would still be kind of scary, which could cause a heart attack, if your health isn't the greatest already. That would just be heartbreaking for Leah, because it's like, oh my god, I think I killed my dad. One of the major changes that actually makes me mad is in the book, when Edward abandons Bella, he doesn't realize that Victoria is gunning for Bella. Obviously, they killed James, which was Victoria's love, but they didn't know that Victoria would be now trying to kill Bella. They abandoned Bella because he was scared he'd hurt her and that it was safe for her if he wasn't around. I mean, in the book, he even sneaks into her room and, removes every picture of him, so it's like he never existed, which is just not even okay. And they leave her. However, in the movie, they know that Victoria's trying to go get her, and they leave anyway. They leave, and their reason for this is that Alice will watch over Bella, and, if something bad happens, she'll have a vision, and they'll go back for Bella. Are you serious? You know that Victoria's trying to kill your human girlfriend, and you leave to protect her? And you know this bitch is trying to kill your girlfriend, and you leave anyway? Are you for real? It's insane, because in the book, they did not know that Victoria was trying to hurt Bella, so them leaving, I mean, I don't think it's right, but I guess if you're so terrified you're going to hurt Bella, the best way is to keep your distance, I guess. But in the movie, you have the same reason of, I don't want to hurt Bella, keep my distance, but you know that another vampire who's crazy is trying to end her life, and you still leave, hoping that Alice's visions will notify you to go save her, is messed up. Toxic. Horrible. Bella deserves better, in my opinion. In both the movie and the book, Edward believes that Bella has died by jumping off a cliff. Jacob's wolfiness kind of blocks Alice's vision, and she doesn't realize that Bella's alive. So Edward, being the drama queen he is believes he cannot live without her. Alright. So he goes to Volterra, Italy, where the Volturi, Volterra, yeah. He goes there to reveal himself to the humans, so that way the Volturi will have to kill him, because, the main rule is humans cannot know vampires exist. Gotta keep this on the down low. So him revealing himself is kind of like a Don't do that. So he goes there to end his life, basically. And Alice and Bella rush there to try and stop him. And in both the movie and the book, she does stop him. He realizes she's alive, she's okay, hugs her, steps out of the light. However, in the movie, he is seen by a child. He steps out into the sun, and a child sees him sparkling, which is the definition of no, no, no. In the book, he doesn't even get into the light. She stops him before that can even happen. He's about to reveal himself to the world, and she stops him. In the movie, she's just a little short. She doesn't make it in time. Which works in the movie's favor, because him revealing himself means the Volturi have to do something about it. So they're led down into the Volturi's chamber, and Edward is basically tortured in front of Bella. An entire fight ensues, and he's almost killed. His head is almost from his body, and Bella, doing the thing, says that she'd rather die in his place. Be like, kill me instead, which is... okay. So she is willing to sacrifice herself for Edward. And the Volturi kind of come up with a deal that she can't know this stuff. Like, this can't be happening, dude. So she has to become a vampire. And Alice is like, I've had a vision. She will be a vampire. And basically, the thing is, they're allowed to leave if Bella becomes a vampire. Right? In the book, this fight does not happen. It's just a conversation. A heated conversation, but there's no fight. Because Edward does not reveal himself, which means that there's no reason for the Volturi to kill him. However, they do want to talk to him. So they do have a conversation, kind of similar to, hey, Bella can't know this stuff. She's human. And Alice is like, hey, I had a vision. She'll be a vampire. And that still happens. There's just less Edward almost dying, Bella screaming that she wants to die in his place, no fight. So it's very anticlimactic. So I guess them changing it for the movie to have like an actual fight happen was a good choice. I mean, obviously there's nothing wrong if they had kept the book version where they're having this conversation, but it's not as like big and in your face as the movie portrayed it. And finally, in New Moon, a vote takes place for Bella to become a vampire. Happens in both the movie and the book. However, in the movie, it takes place in the living room. It's very like nonchalant. Bella's like, I want to be a vampire. You know what I want. Let's make this happen. And they vote. Basically, she's like, make me a vampire. You know what I want. Let's do this. In the book, it happens in the dining room, more formal. Bella goes to each person and goes, Alice, Jasper, and goes name by name rather than everyone just chiming in when they want. And Edward gives a speech in the book, basically being like, this ain't a good idea. Let's do something else to not have her become a vampire. Because her reason in the book for becoming a vampire is the Volturi, which is an honest thing. Be like, hey, they threatened us. I should become a vampire because of the threat of the Volturi coming back and ending us all. And so they do like a vote. And Edward's like, we should figure out a different way to do this so that this doesn't have to happen. Because obviously he doesn't want to taint her soul. But they don't listen to him, and he stalks out like the little moody, angsty dude he is, and they take a vote. And in the movie, this vote does happen. It's less formal, and it's not because of the Volturi, even though that scene does happen, and they are threatened with it. She's like, you guys know what I want to... You know I want to be a vampire. Come on. And one final difference that I decided to add in here is... In both the movie and the book, Edward proposes to Bella. Basically, he's like, if I'm going to turn you into a vampire, because she wants him to do it, you have to marry me first. Which, whatever. In the movie, it happens in the woods. Jacob is basically threatening Edward. They're in a fight. Bella steps between them. And Edward's like, Bella, if you want me to make you a vampire, you gotta marry me. In the book, I believe it happens in his bedroom. There is a talk between... Jacob and Edward. I believe it's about the territory line. Basically, like, if you turn Bella, we gonna have a fight. But in the book, Jacob's not there for this, the will you marry me conversation. In the movie, he is. Makes him more angsty, dramatic. And there's probably a few more differences that I missed. I know, like, when they go to the movies with Mike, that scene's a little bit different in the book than it is in the movie. When they go to the party, Bella is, she gets cut, which causes them to all leave her. And in the book, she's thrown into like her presents and glass plates that cut her. In the movie, it's more dramatic where she flies back into a wall and like gets cut by some like glass candle holders, I believe. In the book, Emmett and a few others gift her a radio that they install into her car. I don't know. Oh, I believe it does happen in the movie as well. However, it's just slightly different. Bella wears a different outfit to her party. When Bella hits the water, she sees Victoria. I think in the book it's implied that maybe she has the feeling someone's in the water with her, but in the movie they directly show Victoria coming for her. There's also plot holes when it comes to like the wolves blocking Alice's visions, because in Eclipse, like when they're at that party, I believe it's a graduation party or something, when Jacob gives her that bracelet, Alice has a vision, I believe, of Riley and those new vampires while the wolves are around. So that's kind of just a thing that they like to make a plot point and then just pretend it's not there. Same with the eyes. Changing colors when they're supposed to. But overall, I mean, there's differences, but some of the differences I think added to it. I mean, the fight at the end was very cinematic. It was like interesting to watch. You felt bad for Edward. You wanted to step in and help Edward. I think Bella's screaming while she's clutching her hair is a little cringy. Obviously she wanted to save her man, but she could have done it a little differently. But I mean, Bella is twitchy. She's always been twitchy. She's so that's just Bella way. There's major, there's minor differences, stuff like that, but there's nothing that's very like, nothing that changes the story too badly, except for maybe the fight scene at the end. The rest of the stuff is very like minor changes that don't affect the story too much, except for the fact that they knew Victoria was trying to kill Bella and they left anyway. That's some toxic behavior. You knew your girlfriend could be dead and you didn't care. Or you care and you're like, I'll just have Alice watch over her, she'll have a vision, and then we can go save her. And it's like, what if the vision doesn't happen fast enough? What if you're too far away? I mean, Edward ends up in Rio. So, like, what if they couldn't make it in time? Like, it's dumb. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll be back again Wednesday with another one. I'll be doing Twilight Eclipse next month, so stay tuned for that. Alright, guys. I'll see you later.